In the last video, I was showing you this picture of the Earth at night, and we sort of found out what's wrong with this image here is that we're sending all this light up into outer space. For a scenario that's like this, which is fairly common, I'm sure you can just go look around your own neighborhood or anything, any part of the city or world that you live in, and you can find examples of lights that do this. And so because, like, when I go back to the pollution here, the sky isn't supposed to be so hazy. There's not supposed to be trash on the beach. The water should be nice and clear and clean. Because these things are sort of unwanted in here, well, that's pollution. And the same goes with light like this. It's because we have this light that's going up into outer space where it shouldn't be. This is also called pollution, but it's called light pollution. Believe it or not, this is actually a thing, light pollution. And so all artificial light I think we generate is a form of pollution, because even what we turn on at night for safety, really isn't supposed to be there. We're lighting our walkways and our streets, and all right, I like the comfort it brings as well, but it's not supposed to be there. So even lighting the streets is sort of like pollution as well. But certainly sending this light into the sky is a form of pollution. It doesn't need to be there. And let's just take a look at what it does to the sky now, because you got to think a little bit more now. Okay, so if you have the light going up and maybe there's some clouds up here or something like that, let's come back to this image in a minute, but let me just show you an example. So here is a picture of New York City at night. New York City is a big light polluter. You can see lights all over the place going towards us and up in the sky in all directions here. And look at what the sky looks like. I'm not seeing the Big Dipper. I'm not seeing the moon. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, all right, maybe it was an overcast evening, but even so, what tends to happen then when you get this light pollution is that if there's some clouds up here, and here you are as the diligent astronomy student, maybe trying to find your Big Dipper or something. Maybe the Big Dipper is sort of over here or something like that. There's sort of the Big Dipper like that, and you're sort of looking up to see it. What happens is that the light from this artificial light source, this light pollution, will travel up to the clouds, bounce off the clouds, and go into your eye like that. And so the light that's coming from this artificial light hitting the cloud and going into your eye, it's like your eye is competing for bandwidth now, or excuse me, the Big Dipper is competing with bandwidth now, because it's trying to send its dim light into your eye so you can sort of see what's going on. But it's really, really hard for your eye to compete with the very bright lights that are coming in from the artificial light pollution. So what happens here is that the thing you're trying to see, maybe like the Big Dipper, is going to look very dim, or maybe even invisible to you, because your eye just cannot compete with these bright artificial light sources. That's what light pollution is. And so here's New York City at night, and you're just not going to see the Big Dipper. And again, granted, it looks like some sort of foggy or overcast evening, but even so, it's going to be hard to see really anything in the sky with all of this light pollution. Here's London, and I've been to London for good stretches at a time in the summers, and I don't think I've ever seen a star over that city at night, ever. It's always this murky, yellowish, cloudy, hazy sky. Always. Big city like that, just full of lights, of course. And of course, there's Las Vegas, which sort of does the lights as part of its thing. I forgot what the name of this hotel is right here. I mean, it's the Luxor maybe, that sends this beam up into outer space on purpose. And I think I read somewhere that this beam is bright enough that you can actually read a book in outer space at like 4 miles above the Earth or something like that. So it's part of the attraction of Las Vegas there, but it's like this light beam just going straight up like that, just full of light pollution here. Not a lot of good astronomy done in Las Vegas. This, I believe, is the San Fernando Valley that some of you may be familiar with, Southern California. Notorious for all kinds of pollution there, air pollution and light pollution. But just look at what the sky looks like. Look at this weird haze that you just see all over the place. Now, there's definitely something in the air that's causing this haze, but there's also plenty of light to do this illumination thing, all the light, artificial light bouncing off all the stuff in the sky that you see there. And this is sort of what happens then. So here are two images of, one of my favorites, of Orion, the hunter, right? So in the ideal case here, I say, hey, students, look at Betelgeuse right there, how big and orange it is right there in the shoulder of Orion. Here's the belt right here, and I think we even identified in the last lecture, like there's Mintaka right there, which is right on the celestial equator. And here's Rigel in the foot. But you'd have to go to a very dark area to see this, which are getting harder and harder to find. And here's what Orion is usually going to look like in a city. I mean, here it is. This is usually what you're going to see. And you can see all this stuff around here are the effects of light pollution. So you can barely make out Betelgeuse right there, very insignificant. Here's Rigel right here. Here's the belt right here. So it's like, it's okay, but this is just sort of a real bummer here that by and large, this is what happens if you go outside in an urban environment and try to do some astronomy. You just don't see anything that it's supposed to look like. So, I mean, just imagine the era before all this electric lighting, if everywhere you went and looked up, this is what the sky looks like. I mean, I'll kid you not then that even when you get in a sky like this here, sometimes it can be even hard to find the Big Dipper because of the exact reason. So you know the Big Dipper has this really easy to find shape, you know, just the dipper like that. And so you go out looking for that. But if the Big Dipper is something you get really dark and you just see all the stars all around it that you don't normally see because it's so dark outside, this is sort of what you'd have to search for the Big Dipper in. And, you know, I'm not saying I'm Mr. Expert Astronomer or anything like that, but there have been times when I was out camping, going out just doing a little astronomy, looking for the Big Dipper. It was actually kind of hard to find the Big Dipper because there was so many other stars in the field of view. It really had to work at it to find the Big Dipper. But that's what the night sky is supposed to be like. We'll continue in the next video.